Hey everyone, Christian Newman here from Rise Digital Google Workspace partners here in Vancouver, Canada. And believe it or not, this is my very first time going live on LinkedIn. I've been part of the LinkedIn community for a really long time and engage with all sorts of people from across Canada and around the world on all topics related to Google Workspace and technology in general. And I'm absolutely thrilled to be able to have the privilege to join people here on LinkedIn Live, which I've never done before. So if something goes wrong throughout the course of this broadcast, I'll write it off to experience and learn from it. But I do hope that nothing will go wrong. So just roll with me and hopefully we will have a great discussion. Today, I was just so excited to come online live and share with you all of my observations from Google's announcements this morning at Google I/O. And if you're not familiar with I/O, Google I/O is Google's annual developer conference where they talk about all the various features of their platform and how they're enabling new ways of communicating, collaborating, sourcing information, and really just connecting with one another. And this morning was the I/O keynote, and that was hosted by Sundar, and all sorts of people came on to the keynote to talk about various aspects of Google, from Android to Maps to the search platform and everything in between. But of course, the part that I was most excited about was the part about Workspace. And you know what? I didn't have to wait very long because Workspace was, you correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, definitely, but I think it was the very first topic after they talked about some of the things, the changes that they've been going through related to COVID-19 and things like that. But they jumped right into Google Workspace, and Sundar handed off the stage to Javier Sotero, and he got up on stage and walked us through some pretty amazing, what I called in my post earlier, groundbreaking features of Google Workspace that I think we can all definitely look forward to. And if you haven't seen my post, please do check it out. If you're not following me already, hit the follow button on my LinkedIn profile, or even connect with me and let's talk about all things Google Workspace. I'd love to share that post with you and get your comments on it. But right after the keynote, I had to jump onto LinkedIn and I wrote a pretty long summary of all the announcements that were made today because there were just so many. But after that, a short while afterwards, Google posted a new post on the Cloud blog. And I wanted to run through that with you here today and talk about all of the various features that were announced and my observations and thoughts around them. And by all means, if you have any thoughts about them, drop them into the comments box and let's have a discussion, because I don't know about you, but I'm pretty excited about this. They're really putting the pieces of the puzzle in place to create that future of work where there is what they call collaboration equity, where everybody, no matter where they're located, no matter what their background, no matter what their abilities, whether they're at home or in the office, all have an equal opportunity to collaborate and communicate with one another. And this concept of collaboration equity is something that Google has been striving toward for quite some time. But all of the building blocks that they announced today definitely get us one step closer to that future of work, which they call collaboration equity. And so what I'd like to do is I'd like to show you the blog post, and definitely do take some time to read it on your own. But I want to show you that blog post and just run through the various announcements that they made in that blog post. And I think there might have been one or two others that aren't in the blog post that they either showed on camera or on video, or even mentioned in the keynotes. And so I'm definitely going to share that with you as we go through it. So if I jump into the blog post here, here it is, transforming collaboration in Google Workspace. That is what it's all about. That's what I'm so excited about today. And I think you're going to really enjoy these sensational updates that we're going to talk about right now. And so if I scroll down here a little bit, it gives a little bit of a background around how they've been working towards the future of work and how they take the multitude of disparate apps that exist out there in the world, and they bring all of that functionality together into one platform called Google Workspace. And they announced first and foremost something called Smart Canvas. And this is really a new platform, a new product experience that they're building that will enable so many more features and more dynamic, sort of fluid experiences throughout Google Workspace. And this is a long-term journey that they're embarking upon, but one that they've begun just recently and announced today. And I think that's going to open the door to so many more features and capabilities that are just figments of our imagination today as we look at how we work in our day-to-day workflows. So in terms of some of the things that Smart Canvas will enable, they talked about bringing content and connections that transform collaboration into a richer, better experience in Google Workspace. And really that is what it's all about. We've been enjoying this richer collaboration experience in apps like Docs, Sheets, and later Slides, and it permutated throughout the rest of the platform for almost 15 years. But really this Smart Canvas is the next big step to enabling so much more. And they played a short video that really sort of illustrates everything that Smart Canvas is all about. And I want to play that for you right now. So really cool. And we definitely see some things in there that we've seen before, but we see some new things. Some of those things we've seen before are things like the ability to mention somebody in a Google Doc and really sort of just tag them from within the text of the document. But some things that we haven't seen before are things like being able to mention a specific a specific file. Like that is really cool, being able to link to a file, not by creating a text link, but through what they call a chip that actually embeds a link to that document from within the document that you're working on. That's really, really cool. We also saw some voting buttons there. Never seen that before, but the ability to vote and automatically rank ideas or opportunities in a table according to the number of votes that they've received. Really, really cool. Can't wait to see how that plays out and the potential use cases for something like that. Also, towards the end there, we saw a task list, a checklist within Google Docs. Really cool. I mean, you could sort of hack together a checklist in a Google Doc before, but kind of not really. But this is actual real checklists that you can actually turn into assigned tasks to specific team members. So all really cool building blocks and all made possible by this Smart Canvas platform that Google is building now. So down here, they walk through some of these new interactive building blocks. as I called them as well. Things like at mentions, which we could do before, but now you have the ability to at mention a specific person or a file or even a calendar event, right? A meeting from your Google Calendar. So really, really neat, expanding significantly the different types of content that you can link to from within a Google Doc. And if I just zoom in here a little bit, you should be able to see a little bit better. An example of that in Google Docs, where you can use @mention to add smart ships for recommended people, files, and meetings from within a doc. So really, really cool. Starting today, those checklists are available on the web and on mobile. So that is something that is enabled right away today. We're going to see some of these other features coming later on. But yeah, you can create checklists and you can mention those documents right away starting today. So really cool. Table templates, we saw a snippet of that in the video. Table templates are really neat and really looking forward to how these will come to life. Things like topic voting tables, which we saw a demonstration of, really, really great functionality, again, made possible by this Canvas platform, and can't wait to see where that is going to go. There's also going to be other types of document templates coming available, things like being able to capture meeting notes automatically. And this all just are shortcuts, right? We don't have to go and create these documents from scratch. They will just sort of auto-populate with all of the typical content sections that we need in order to capture, for example, meeting notes. So really cool features in Google Docs yet to come. But what I was really most excited about was this pageless format in Google Docs. I mean, we have this sort of paradigm that we've been living in for such a long time where documents are always pages, right? Like, how many pages is my essay going to be? How many pages is my marketing plan going to be? Well, you know what? Since when do pages matter anymore, right? Of course, we can print out our documents onto paper and turn them into page, paginated format or medium. But it's most often not necessary in today's world to think of things in terms of pages. And so Google Docs is going to be rolling out a pageless format that lets us make full use of the entire canvas, all of the space that we have available to us. So really excited to use that myself. I don't often think of documents in terms of pages. You know what? They just roll on and on with various sections and content. And oftentimes the actual pages cause me to make concessions or compromises in my format or in my stylistic sort of design that make the document less effective than it could have been, right? So now on to Google Sheets. Some really neat things in Google Sheets, like new sort of smart suggestions in terms of creating formulas, as well as troubleshooting formulas. That's something that I struggle with all of the time when I'm working on a more complex formula, troubleshooting it. So there's a little bit more AI-based help coming in that sense. But there's also this thing called a new view in Sheets to better manage and interact with your data called Timeline View. And I'm really excited for Timeline View. It makes me think that the Area 120 project called Google Tables is really just maybe even a testing ground. I don't know if this is the truth, of course, but maybe it's just a testing ground for features that will eventually make their way into Google Sheets, because the demonstration that we saw really reminded me of some of the capabilities that I've seen in Google Tables, where we have cards and you can interact with cards in different ways and apply different views to them. Either the table view, like the one that you see here with chips in them to mention various members of the team, to a timeline view or a Gantt chart view, I guess you could say, like the demonstration that you see on the screen here. And they say that there's more views coming in the works. They only announced the timeline view today, but I'm sure there's more and more views yet to come. And you know what? Watch out Trello, right? Or Asana or whatever other app is out there that people are lightweight users of those because they do certain things that maybe Google Sheets can't. But you know what? I think that the time is coming where Google Sheets will be able to sort of fill that void and provide solutions to those use cases that cause people to go to alternative solutions like Asana or Trello or Monday.com or apps like that. So there's just so much here, and we haven't even gotten to Google Meet, right? And there's so much. So many groundbreaking features that Google Meet has added over the past number of months, and Google definitely isn't taking the foot off the gas here because they're just going ahead with so many more features that enable you to pull content into conversations and conversations into content. It goes both ways, right? But when we're collaborating, we don't want the technology to get in the way. We want the content to come front and center so that we can get work done and move forward together. And that's what it's all about. So starting today, you're able to present your content to a Google Meet call directly from a doc, sheet, or slide when you're already working on one with the team. It's really easy to do. There's a little button up in the top right-hand corner, like where you see it in this little video here. It doesn't look like a Google Meet icon today. It looks a little bit different, but you'll be able to click on that button there and share it to a Google Meet, and you'll be able to see it within the Google Meet. You can do that starting today, but later on this year, we're going to gain the ability to have Google Meet picture-in-picture, just like you see on the demonstration here, right alongside our doc, sheet, or slide. And isn't that sensational? I just can't wait for this to arrive, and so I can try it out myself because it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun and a really effective means of collaborating. We've heard of this before, but now it's officially announced, is the ability to do live translations of captions coming later this year to a handful of languages, many more to come, of course. This just makes things so much more inclusive and accessible for absolutely everybody. And anything that makes meetings more inclusive means that the engagement goes up, means that meetings are more likely to achieve their objectives, and means that we're all going to get more done with less effort and be happier at work. And isn't that what it's all about? We're also, they also talked about being able to create and edit sheets and docs from Google Chat Room, which of course we've been able to do for quite some time, but now we're going to enable it for Google Slides in the coming weeks. And I can think of so many examples of times when I've been working on slide documents in a Google, alongside a Google Chat Room, and to bring those together would just be sensational. Can't wait to see that happen. Of course, there's also going to be emoji reactions in Google Docs, something that I'm really excited about. And it's been mentioned before that there's emoji reactions coming as well to Google Meet, right? They didn't talk about it in today's presentation. Perhaps even I missed it. I'm not sure. But I was paying pretty close attention. I don't think they mentioned it, but that is something that Google has announced previously before. Oh, and one more thing that they did mention that actually wasn't referenced in the presentation here is, or sorry, in the blog post, is companion mode for Google Meet. And what companion mode means is it's basically Google's way of leveling the experience between somebody who is attending a meeting remotely and has their full tile on Google Meet, and of course can engage in all of the Google Meet collaboration functions like chat, polls, Q&A, hand raising, et cetera, presenting, and so forth. basically what companion mode does is it extends that experience to people who are attending from within a meeting room that is equipped with Google Meet hardware, right? So basically, everybody who's in the meeting room, of course, you'll see them sitting around a table on the big screen from the camera that's mounted above the screen in the room. However, companion mode will also give them their own tile in the Google Meet meeting that basically broadcasts the video, to my understanding, from the camera on their laptop computer. And therefore, because they're logged into the meeting on their laptop computer, their Chromebook, their MacBook, whatever it is, they will also therefore have access to chat, polls, Q&A, hand raising, et cetera, et cetera. Whereas previously, they didn't have that access. There would typically be one sort of chairperson in the meeting room who would have access to all of those things because they're running the hardware. But now everybody can have that experience, right? And it also gives people who are attending the meeting remotely more of a one-on-one experience with all of the people, even those who are inside the meeting room. So really, really great. Takes us one step closer to collaboration equity by leveling that experience between people who are attending in an office environment in a meeting room and people who are attending remotely. So really excited about that. Down here, we get into some of the assistive writing features. Just Google flexing its AI muscle, which continues to grow stronger year after year. I've always said they're hell bent on cutting keystrokes, right? Because if they cut keystrokes, we can get more done better than we ever could have before. And assisted writing features help me do that every day. And they're adding more assistive writing features in here today. There's going to be stylistic suggestions. There's going to be warnings around things like offensive words, gendered terms, offensive language, things like that. Probably 1,000 other examples that are, of course, aren't listed in the blog post here. But I can't wait to see those as they begin to roll out. I mentioned earlier some of the formula suggestions for Google Sheets before. And as well, there's just so many features and functions and ways in which Google is bringing all of the apps together so that they work together more seamlessly to give us the most powerful and easy collaboration experience as we possibly can. Down here towards the end of the blog post, there's some comments and examples of success stories from various Google Workspace customers. And that was it, right? I know that was a lot and I blasted through it really, really quickly. But there's just so much to be excited about here. And I just feel so privileged to have been part of today's experience at the Google I/O keynote. Of course, the keynote is just the beginning of the conference, which takes place today as well as Wednesday and Thursday. So there's so much more to learn, so much more to discover. And there will be more details around some of the things that I've just walked you through or sprinted you through very quickly. There will be more details around those that will emerge in the coming days, as well as other announcements and capabilities for both end users and developers alike that are revealed through the various other sessions that occur throughout today and the next few days at Google I/O. So definitely stay tuned. I'm going to be posting on my LinkedIn some more detailed content around various different elements of what I just walked you through as I learn more about them and have a chance to ask questions and get answers to them so that I understand what those use cases are going to be and how they will help our clients and everybody in our Google Workspace community to do what it is they do better. So really excited to have the chance to share all of these with you today. By all means, if you enjoyed this broadcast, my very first, LinkedIn live broadcasts, please do leave a comment, like, follow me, connect with me even, and say hello, introduce yourself. I'd love to talk to any Google Workspacers out there. We are a small community, but a strong and growing community. And I just love the collaborative nature of everybody that I've met, whether it's in LinkedIn or in any other medium. Google Workspacers across the world are just such a friendly and welcoming bunch, and I'm so grateful to have you all in my LinkedIn community. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope to hear from you. By all means, if you have any questions for me, reach out. You can find me here on LinkedIn or on my website at risedigital.tech. And I will definitely be doing another one of these LinkedIn Lives one of these days, because I just had a blast and I can't wait to do another. Thanks very much. Have a great rest of your day.